This is Jed Disler, and welcome to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. Ordinarily, the focus of my podcast is with commercially released recordings, but a listener wrote to me recently and asked if it might be possible for me to talk about a particular recital involving Ivo Pogorelich, the pianist, that took place on May 7th, 1990 at Carnegie Hall. This concert survives in a very good quality recording. I'm not sure what the source of this recording is, but if an audience member indeed taped it, then the sound is surprisingly excellent for its provenance, and it's really not far from professional standards. Or maybe it was recorded officially by Carnegie Hall in-house, and a copy just kind of floated its way out into the so-called tape underground, and of course, it's now on the internet. You can find this recital on YouTube, and it's long made the rounds of collectors. Now, normally, I feel ambivalent about stealth recordings, mainly because they are made without the artist's approval, nor does the artist receive any compensation. And I think it's wrong when these recordings are sold for money and the artist gets nothing out of the deal. But because one can access this concert fairly easily at the moment, I've decided to talk about the May 7th, 1990 Ivo Pogorelich recital, because not only does it showcase Ivo Pogorelich at the pinnacle of his very considerable powers, but also because he gives astounding performances of some works that he otherwise did not record in the studio. The concert begins with Haydn's D major sonata number 19, and I find this live performance a little more exciting and spontaneous in the outer movements than in Pogorelich's studio recording on Deutsche Grammophon. The pianist takes enormous rhythmic leeway throughout the three Brahms intermezzi, opus 117, yet you get this sense of an interior monologue taking place, where every word and every comma and every pause and every point of emphasis seems to have been seriously considered and deeply internalized. I remember when this dear friend of mine turned me on to Pogorelich's Deutsche Grammophon studio recording of selected Brahms piano pieces, and my friend said that Pogorelich may take liberties with the notes, but he doesn't take liberties with the music, and I kind of understood what he meant by that comment. The first half of this concert, however, ended with what I think are far and away the most demonic, fiercely characterized, and pianistically well put together performances I've ever heard of the Liszt Transcendental Etudes number 8, Wilde Jagd, number 5, the Feu and the unnamed number 10, which is in F minor. And this is precisely why certain bootleg recordings have tremendous artistic value. If we did not have this recording of these etudes, we would not know how Pogorelich had played them, and we would not have proof that he played these etudes on such a transcendent level that just beggars belief. The concert's second half began with 6 Scarlatti sonatas, Kirkpatrick numbers 380, 87, 8, 135, 13, and 119. And there are some idiosyncratic moments in these performances that kind of annoy me, such as those rhythmic distensions in the E major, number 380. I mean, why does he have to do that? But then you have some of the immaculate balances and amazingly controlled repeated notes in the D major Kirkpatrick number 119. And here, I think Pogorelich's studio recording set the gold standard for this sonata, but I think the live performance benefits from a little more adrenaline. Chopin's three mazurkas, Opus 59, were next, and these works can easily absorb Pogorelich's rhetorical stretching. And the Scriabin Fourth Sonata, which came after, manages to toe a fascinating line between nervously driven and very sexy. And I think the only other pianist who can compare in this same sense, interpretively and pianistically, probably is Mikhail Pletnev. And last but not least on this recital, we have what I think is probably the most texturally cogent, consistently characterized, and pianistically poised live performance that I've ever heard of Balakirev's near impossible Islame. I know there's a later Carnegie Hall performance of this piece with Pogorelich, and that one I have not heard. But this live May 7th, 1990 performance preserves a peerless interpretation of Islame, which is another work that Pogorelich did not otherwise record. I've posted a YouTube link in my episode description, and all I can say is that I hope this extraordinary recital will eventually find its way to being commercially released in some way, shape, or form. It truly lives up to its legend. This is Jed Disler, and you've been listening to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. And I look forward to being with you for the next episode. Take care and stay safe.